on his first lap. He's sending it all the way down to the bottom. He is trying to go for it on the first lap, but 17.359 for Kyle Adams. Very, very good lap. That is going to put him second on the board, but maybe he just threw away the whole deal right there of wanting to heat the tires up. He just wanted to go ahead and get it on that first lap. We'll see if he can get Brown right here, and it's not going to be enough. Looks like that is a 17.363, but still fast enough to be sitting in that second spot right at this moment.
I mean, that was impressive on the very first lap. The car was fast, and he pretty much matched it. It was about a hundredth of a second difference between his two laps. So can he keep that consistency once the race itself comes out? As Willie Nelson now starts his first flying lap, he too is going to go right down to the bottom on the first lap. And it seems like a lot of drivers now thinking that is the way to be quick, since two of our top drivers both use that as their line. 17.429. I'd say it's working for Willie.
Yeah, I believe Willie's got this bad boy in gears. He's going to slide just a little bit. Got the smoke boiling from inside the car and also out the back of the car. Willie Nelson got it all the way down. May have clipped the grass just a little bit. That may end up not getting a good lap right here, but guess what, folks? It was good enough. He's going to get 17.357. That's actually going to pass Kyle Adams. So right now, Brown's sitting on the pole right now, and Willie Nelson's sitting in second.
0.02 of a second between P2 and P3. That brings us to Keegan Busch now in the number 27, already out and flying on his first go around now. 6 drivers have qualified with quite a bit of a spread, more than we probably would have anticipated. A second from first to sixth currently, also hugging down to the bottom across the apron all the way to the grass. First lap 17.5, not too shabby.
Not too shabby, but we'll see if he can get anything right here. Maybe try to build up something right here as he goes into turn 3. He's going to send it all the way down to the bottom. Damn near clips the grass right in the apex of the corner. Here comes Keegan Busch. Is he going to get anything better this time? He'll only pick up about a tenth at a 17.450. So that'll put Keegan Busch at fourth, right behind Grant Brown, Willie Nelson, and Kyle Adams.
Wow. So that was just enough to jump one place there. That'll put him on the second row. So Keegan Busch finding some good pace out there. I think we might have a new face coming onto the track in just a moment. Nope, looks like it is going to be Michael Weissman. In fact, thought maybe we would see Justin Rideout pop onto the circuit, but in fact, it's going to be the number 45 who is going to ride high. So he's going to go contra to what most others have done.
And he was dirt tracking it through 1 and 2, and he's going to keep it right up on that top side. And just like you said, Joe, very different from what the guys ahead of him has done. But here he goes on the top side. Now he's going to bring it all the way down to the bottom. Michael Weissman, who had a fantastic race going last week at Stafford, almost lost it right here in qualifying as he was straight up sideways. Sideways going into 3. He is letting it eat right here in qualifying. Almost taps the wall, but Weissman still getting a 17.481, which is going to be right behind Keegan Busch. That's going to be good enough for fifth right now here in qualifying.
Man, leaving nothing on the table. Michael Weissman drifting the car and still managing to go a little bit faster out there. Wonder how much time he may have lost from that moment, as now it's John Gifford in the 46. Which way is he going to go? Well, he's going to go down towards the bottom. Can't quite get to the grass, though, in 1 and 2 for his situation as it swings back around into 3 and 4. Let's see what sort of pace he has. He'll cross the timing line. Seeing 17.4s and 17.5s for the mid-pack. 17.5 will put him smack dab into 7th.
But we're going to see if he can get just a little bit more, as you see a bunch of 17.4s right here scattered from about 3rd all the way down to 6th. We'll see if Gifford can get into that. And it looks like he's not going to be able to do it. So that first lap is going to be the fastest lap at a 17.510. And that's going to be good enough to put John Gifford right in that 7th spot.
Okay, so we're starting to see more and more times up and getting a feel for where drivers are able to place themselves. And Timmy Spatz is the next one out in the number 54. He's actually onto the track already and getting ready to take the green flag for his qualifying lap. Cross the line and around the mostly outside. In fact, he's running the middle. Haven't seen that very much at all yet this evening.
Yeah, that's one thing right here about Irwindale. I mean, you know, there is a lot of different lines, and Spatz almost loses it off of 4. He's going to be able to get it straightened back up for this lap. 17.815, which is not as fast as a lot of the drivers out here. And it looks like he's not even going down to the bottom. He's going to try to keep it up on the top side. As soon as I say that, thought about sending it down the bottom, jumps up almost into the gravel all the way up at the top of the track, but picks up about a tenth. 17.714 for Timmy Spatz. That's going to put him 9th on the board right now.
So a little bit farther down than what we had been seeing. And Kenny Storkson is still coming around from the pit entry practically there. So taking some time before he finds his way around, and then he's going to park it. So I guess we're going to Chris Story instead, who's already on the circuit in the number 67. As he chucks it down into turn 1 and brings it to the bottom, tries to late apex this one to get himself the launch. Now it's down into 3 and 4, all the way to the grass, just about touching it that time.
I mean, that's what you've got to do, Joe. You've got to get as low as you can go. It's that old saying, how low can you go? Well, I'm telling you, he went about as low as he could have went, except for not hitting the grass and spinning himself out. And he's going to send it one more time in 3 and 4. Almost clips the grass again. Almost clips the wall coming out. And Story's going to hit a 17.361. But the first lap was the best lap. And that's going to put him starting right beside Grant Brown when they take the green here in just a couple of minutes.
Interesting. So looking very quick there, Chris Story. He's going to bump Willie Nelson off the front row as Jeremiah Rychecki is going to now try and see what he's got underneath him in the number 78 as he goes through 1 and 2, drifts it out to that outside wall, down the back stretch, and now it's time for 3 and 4. Goes to the bottom line, across the apron, back up to the banking and to the timing line. 17.340. First lap already puts him into second place.
Yeah, but I think he may have threw it away right here, because usually if they can try to build the tires up, maybe not. We'll see what he's got right here. Jeremiah coming off of turn 4. Will he be able to knock Grant Brown off the top? He will not. 17.487 for Jeremiah in the 78. But still, once again, knocking people down, but Grant Brown able to hold off another driver. But here comes Jake Sylvia, won last week at Stafford. We'll see if he can knock Grant Brown off of that pole.
Cross the line to start his lap. Gets it just about down to the apron, but doesn't quite touch it. Maybe brushes the white line through 3 and 4. This is where most drivers are able to get much more shallow, and he does indeed in that 88. Slides a bit off the corner, though. First lap, though, a 17.219, and that is pole.
Jake Sylvia picking up where he left off last week, winning at Stafford, and he's going to try to start it right here on the pole. If anybody else has got anything for him, there is a new time to beat here at Irwindale as Jake comes by the line, 17.268. But the first lap was good enough to knock Grant Brown off the pole. So we got a new fast man here at Irwindale, Joe, and his name is Jake Sylvia.
Only Jake and Grant have been able to break under the 17.3s. So watch out for that. That's your new marker of what is fast out here. Bradley Stefane starts his flyer. He is able to get down to the apron on that first time around, and then down into turns 3 and 4. Can he compete with Sylvia and Brown? Oh, he's way off the grass, though. A little bit higher up on that apron.
We'll see what he gets right here. I mean, actually, that time 17.641 right there for Bradley Stefanis. He's going to come off a 2, gets a little bit loose. We'll see if he can go all the way down to the grass this time as he gets about midway from the grass and the racing surface. Here he comes across the line, picks up about a tenth, 17.594. So Bradley Stefan clocks in at 12th sitting right now as we've only got about a handful left of drivers left here in qualifying.
And I think going to be Brogan Whitworth up next. Indeed it is. So he works his way out onto the track, getting that hard to miss orange and red number 96. And interestingly, he's not going to start around the outside. He goes all the way to the bottom on the warm-up lap. Not something I think I've seen anybody else do. Usually they maybe try to open up the wheel a little bit riding high.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I said, you know, everybody's basically got different ways to attack this track in qualifying and also the race. As Brogan, he has got it all the way down on the bottom, and it's not going to be too good on this first lap. 17.724 for Brogan Whitworth. That's going to be good enough for 14th as he comes off a 2, almost smacks the fence coming off of turn 2, sends it down into turn number 3, all the way down to the bottom, and comes right up against the wall. Will Brogan get a little bit faster? He does by 2/1000ths of a second. 17.722. Brogan Whitworth staying in 14th.
So not a big improvement, but I guess you could say an improvement. Kyle Smith is our next one in the number 97, who just crossed the start-finish line to start his lap now and brings it around 1 and 2, riding a little bit higher and obviously, well, maybe riding lower. Look at the sparks coming off the back of that car.
Woo, look at the back end of that car sliding out when he went into turn 3 right there. I thought he almost lost it right here going into the corner. But Kyle Smith, 17.9, he may be driving it just a little bit too hard right now, Joe, because that car is all over the place. He's going to send it down into 3. Look at this. I mean, literally almost a 45-degree angle when he went into turn 3. But he might have scrubbed off just a little bit too much speed. No, he actually picked up a 10th right there. So Kyle Smith clocking in at 16th, but wow, what a ride right there for Kyle Smith.
It was, and he gets away with it, but it's not fast. It's down in 16th for him. Leave Tyler Lugo Vickery should be our next driver out. The 241 exits the pit lane, also trying to scrub the tires a little bit to heat them up before he gets into turns 3 and 4. He'll ride the high line on this one, heads across the start-finish line to start the first flyer.
And check out them eyes right there, folks. I mean, he is glued to that screen, wanting to try to get as fast a lap as he can. He's going to keep it all the way right here on the top side, like most drivers have done. Try to keep it on the top, try to build momentum. We'll see where he gets right here. 17.786. Not able to get down as low as he wanted to in 1 and 2, but we'll see if he's able to cut it down in 3 and 4. Sends it in, back in, almost comes around, but he's going to slide way up the track, almost gets into the fence, hits the line, and he is going to pick up a good chunk right there, Joe. Went from a 17.7 to a 17.493. That's fast enough for the top 10 right now.
I haven't seen many drivers that improved by that margin, so great job by Tyler to find a little bit more pace there on the second lap. Ed Papineau is going to be the last of our drivers to qualify in this race. I believe he's last on our list, unless they've added somebody in the meantime. So Papineau will hopefully wrap it up here as he comes down through 1 and 2. Oh, he drifts way high on the exit, though.
Wow, he is drifting like Tokyo Drift right there coming off a 2. But now here he comes off of turn 4, gets really close to that fence. We'll see if Ed can muster it up just a little bit more. 17.5 that first lap. Not able to cut it down where the grass was in 1 and 2. We'll see exactly what he gets going into 3 and 4. Back in, starts to slide, gets down as low as he can, gasses it up coming off of 4. Well, the 0-1, able to knock Jake Sylvia off the pole. He will not. He'll actually be slower his second lap at a 17.592. So Ed in the 0-1 will start 13th, as we actually do have one more driver out here attempting to qualify.
A late entry. It's going to be Tyler Mueller in the number 1. Oof, my Wow. I can't tell if that's him trying to heat up the tires. If so, that's brave stuff, as he also drifts the car, but he takes off on his flying lap now. Surely the rears have been able to heat up.
Whew, as my daddy would say, damn it, boy, what a save right there coming off of 4, and Tyler Mueller put on a big-time eye-opener for everybody, and it shows as far as the speed, 17.818. Tyler's going to have to pick something up. Had a fantastic run at Stafford last week when they was battling it out for the lead. Almost clips the grass going through 3 and 4. If he did, he clipped it by just an inch. But it's going to be fast. 17.289. Wow, right off the bat, Joe, I thought he was going to be in time trouble, especially the way that he had to save that car off of 4. But now he is the 3rd fastest man here at Irwindale.
He absolutely is, and he's the last qualifier, which means the grids have been set. Now, remember, it is just a heat race here that is for other drivers to set the rest of the grid. We're going to invert those top 7 for the feature, but here in this heat race, it is Kenny Storkson who starts it on the pole. Ed Papineau will begin from P2, and then it is Bradley Stefane who will start this race in 3rd place. You've got Timmy Spatz, who will start on the outside of row 2, and Brogan Whitworth starting in P5. Alex Hallinar will start from 6, and Kyle Smith in 7th. Terry Wangsness starts P8 today as Rob Nelson is 9th and Justin Rideout 10th. Carter Stark, the last of our drivers. Nelson, Rideout, and Stark likely going to be did not starts here for this event, and also not racing in the feature itself as we head off on our pace lap. And there is Terry Wangsness.
Check it out right here, folks. This is what you want to see right here. Youth within iRacing. This is awesome to see right here. I mean, awesome to see. And, you know, it would be awesome to see Terry get out here and absolutely whip all these old guys, to be honest with you. It would be awesome to see right here. And I'm sure as you see him right there, getting that car warmed up, getting the tires warmed up, looks like he is absolutely focused and ready to rock and roll, as we are, as well as I know you are, Joe. I'm ready to get this bad boy heated up right here at Irwindale Speedway.
Same here. Glad to see the awesome stepping stone that sim racing is able to become for young hopefuls who want to become drivers someday. I know that was my dream. I'm perfectly happy being behind the mic, but as a child, I definitely wanted to be behind the wheel instead. And coming up to turn 3, it looks like we are ready to go with the 57 of Storkson, eager to get on his way. Remember, he's probably going to want to get up to the high side a little bit here to cover that off, to make sure nobody overtakes him as the green flag is out and they chuck it down into turn 1. Storkson holds the bottom side up on the high side. Papineau falling back a little bit, but he gets the shot off the corner.
Storkson damn near lost it coming off a 2, but here comes Stefane sending it down on the bottom. Brogan Whitworth almost tried to take it 3 wide, and he is 3 wide as he was stuck in the middle, but everybody able to slide past him. Here comes Bradley Stefane all the way down, basically trying to run some qualifying laps, as here comes the 54 Timmy Spatz looking 4 wide going into turn 3 as they're leaning on one another.
Oh, they catch it. Thankfully, that was Bradley Stefane, and they're 4 wide once again. We said this is a wide track. They're taking advantage of it, getting turned around completely. It's Kyle Smith. He'll keep the car going, no caution.
Wow, I'm telling you, just in that little bit, Joe, if that's what we are in store for 75 laps here in the feature, holy hell, are we going to be in for a treat tonight. 4 wide 2 times in basically 1 lap. But all this going on, Kenny Storkson has lost the lead to the 0-1. That being Ed Papineau, I'm sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong, but he has got the lead and he is running this top. Look at Kenny Storkson trying to get it down the bottom and trying to get back to him.
Yeah, I figured that high line would eventually prevail in the long term. Papineau holding off Storkson, who's trying to run a little bit low and very low for Bradley Stefane. Don't need to worry about the tires here too long, hence why maybe they're still trying to run that shallower line, almost drifting up into his rival. Bradley has to get out of it.
Bradley, he's going to try to work this bottom right here, 2 wide side by side, but Bradley's going to end up getting the slider, sliding right up in front of Kenny Storkson, so Storkson's going to go back to third. Maybe not, he's going to try to pull the crossover and try to jump down below Bradley Stefan. Everybody trying to run down Ed Papineau, or as I'm going to call him, Poppy, for this race. Poppy's still leading it up here as Stefan's starting to close in.
Still has the track position. Can Stefan do anything in these final 3 laps? He certainly looks fast here. Drifts it up off the corner. Still running the lower line in comparison to the 01. In fact, they're going complete opposites here. As he comes off the corner, he did get side by side this time.
2 to go, and Stefan is smelling blood in the water right now as he's going down to the bottom. Poppy is up top. Stefan all over the back bumper, and Kenny Storkson just laying in the weeds, waiting for both of them to make contact and try to get past both of them. And Stefan is at his door as they come to the wide.
Oh, this is going to be close. This will depend on if Brad can get the shot off of turn 4. The 01, holds him off as Bradley not able to stay side by side through 1 and 2. Takes it down to the apron one last time. Papineau to the line is going to take the win in the heat today. Stefan will take second over Storkson in third.
Wow, what a race right there for that 10 laps right there for this heat. Folks, I'm telling you, if you were not entertained by that, you probably don't even need to watch the 75 laps, because I guarantee you're going to be 100% entertained with this 75 lap feature. That 10 laps right there, Joe, was absolute craziness. I've never seen that with the late models here at Irwindale. These guys are going for it even in a 10 lap heat. This is going to be a fantastic race.
As the fireworks go off, we are now ready for the feature, and it is going to be Kyle Adams re-grid to the front on pole. Willie Nelson, he was briefly on the top row, but that would have been different if they had not re-grid, and now he's back there once again in second. Chris Story finds himself in P3. Jeremiah Rychecki, he will start fourth today as Tyler Mueller is in fifth, with Grant Brown starting sixth. Last of the regrid, our pole sitter, Jake Sylvia, going to be starting from 7th, and then it's back to where drivers started or put themselves based on time. Keegan Bush in P8, Michael Weisman in 9th, and even Leahy starting 10th. What about the rest of the field here, Jacob?
Well, then we got Tyler Lugo Vickery will start in 11th. John Gifford will be 12th. Ed Papineau will be in 13th. Bradley Stefan, both those drivers put on a hell of a race right there in that heat race, but Stefan will start 14th. Kenny Storkson will start 15th. Brogan Whitworth will start 16th. Timmy Spat, 17th. Justin Rideout will start 18th. Terry Wagnes will start 19th. Kyle Smith, 20th. The rest of the guys, Alex Hallander, Rob Nelson, and Carter Stark, which those 2 drivers not on the speedway right now.
So put yourself in the pole sitter's shoes here, Jacob. If you're Kyle Adams, you watch that heat race and you saw the outside line seem like it's very good at the start. If you're the 24, do you try and get up high as soon as you can?
I mean, yeah, I think that's exactly what you really want to do. You want to get up on the top side because you're able to get the runs coming off of the corner, but do not wait on it, because I'm guarantee you right now there's going to be a lot of guys sending it down on the bottom. Joe, I think we may be in for a hell of a restart right here, because we may see some more 4 wide right here in just a little bit. I got a very good feeling of it. So, folks, I'm telling you right now, if you got a cold one right now in your hand, sip that bad boy back, kick your feet out, get ready. 75 laps right here at Irwindale. You're not going to want to miss a bit of this race right here.
This should be it. Pace Truck should let them go now. And there it is. As Kyle Adams has control of the field, he'll take them around to the start zone of the track in that number 24, as he attempts to hold off Willie Nelson, as well as a whole bunch of faster drivers behind him from the regrid. Green flag is out, and it's down into turn 1. It's a very even start between the front row, and on the outside already, Willie Nelson trying to see if he can use that momentum. He's going to get ahead.
And he's going to use it, and they are 3 wide right behind him. Tyler Mueller down on the bottom side. Jeremiah Ricky is up on the top side, and Chris Story was stuck in the middle. Once again, 4 wide as they come off of turn number 4. Story Story stuck now on the top side. Adams tried to jump up top. Willie Nelson all the way at the front as they're spinning coming off of turn 2.
Oh, that was Grant Brown, who was making great progress until that moment. Looks like we will not have a caution because of it. Was not in the way of anyone, and he keeps going. This means Nelson leads Adams with Chris Story now in third, running the bottom side, try to overtake Kyle.
They're looking 3 wide. They're looking 4 wide. They may be even looking 5 wide when this damn thing's said and done. Honestly, Joe, they are all over the place right here on this half-mile track. 3 wide back there. Tyler Mueller was stuck in the middle. Ricky trying to see if he can get something mustered up, but Kyle Adams trying to hold it down on this top side as Willie Nelson right behind him, as well as Story's trying to go for the lead.
Adams took the lead going down beneath Nelson there through 3 and 4, but he lost it now to Chris Story. He's going to try the same thing through 1 and 2, but he can't quite slide it up in front of the 67. He'll hold the lead for now.
I'm telling you, it's like I said in pre-race, Joe, these guys are throwing more sliders than a Crystal hamburger worker as we got a big pile up back in 3 and 4, everybody trying to get around them.
Oh, no. Poor Willie Nelson finds himself involved in this one. I think this starts between himself and John Gifford, who's going to bump the rear of that car. And then behind, just a couple more wind up sailing into the wreck as it just wasn't avoidable. Trying to make out who that is. I think Ed Papineau, unfortunately, got a big piece of it. And then an orange car must be... Oh, looks like Justin Rideout, who did start this race, and Brogan Whitworth. Watch up on the high side here. Oof, big hit.
Goodness, what a hit. But all of that started, Joe, when John Gifford just kind of overdrove the corner is what he did. He just completely missed the brake pedal, drove straight into the back bumper of Willie Nelson, jacked the whole back end of the car up, set him straight around. And then at that point, folks, I mean, like we said, this track is wide. It's wide enough to go 4 wide. We've already seen it. But maybe it's not as wide at that point, because when you got so many cars sideways right smack dab in the middle of a corner, you basically just got to close your eyes and just pray and try to get through it. A lot of drivers tried. They was not successful at doing that. That's why you see a lot of drivers maybe taking shots at pit road like you see right here on the leaderboard.
And no surprise that Whitworth is in there with the huge hit that he had. And I see a couple other drivers that were involved, Papineau, and it looks like John Gifford also interesting, did not get away clean on that one. He's been given an EOL for the restart, which won't matter too much because I think he's going to go a lap down here in a quick moment. But how about Chris Story? Managed to take the lead away from Kyle Adams when Kyle was trying to be sneaky, and has not been overtaken by him since. But now he's going to have to deal with Kyle around the outside, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you want to be, honestly, at this point. You want to be up on this top side to be able to get these runs, and especially try to get runs, even if you're trying to overtake a driver. You want to try to get up on the top, try to get as much of a run as you can. Look at this right here. Both of them, Story and Adams, a little bit of door banging right here under caution. Might get some interesting restart right here. Is Jeremiah Ricky Tyler Mueller right behind them as they're ready to go green.
Good start for Chris Story. He jumps ahead of Kyle Adams, or maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants a clear lane here as he's going to try and stay ahead of both Tyler Mueller and the number 1, Jeremiah Rychecki just behind him, rather, I should say, as they fly into turns 3 and 4. Look at them fan out every line imaginable through there.
Wow, they're 3 wide back there, and I'm telling you, Jeremiah Rychecki was stuck in the middle, maybe even looking stuck in the middle once again as Jake Sylvia set it down on the bottom side. He's got Wiseman right behind him. Now Wiseman says, screw it, I'm going down to the bottom. I want to try to get around Jake Sylvia. All this going on is Chris Story is trying to check out from the rest of the field.
Oh, no, bad news, though. Oh, as we almost had a wreck there, the 1 is going to catch it. That's Tyler Mueller. But our leader has been given a black flag for a jump start. He only has so many laps to serve that one, so he's going to have to come in within the next 3 laps or so and hit pit lane.
Wow, that is very, very unfortunate for Chris Story. That is not what he wanted to see, and there you see him jumping down on pit road to serve that black flag. It will surrender to the lead to Kyle Adams. Jeremiah Rychecki trying to run this bottom, trying to see if he can find something to find Kyle Adams. How about Evan Lee? Started 10th all the way up to that 3rd spot, but he's got a lot of guys behind him. Sylvia and Wiseman right up his tailgate trying to see if they can get to him.
Sticking with it here as they fight for the top 5 positions. Weissman on the high side, still working against Bradley Stefane, who's going to cut down low underneath him. Can't quite get it done off the corner, though. Let's not also forget about Tyler Mueller back there. You can see him on the bottom side in the number 1. He had his issue before and is playing catch-up.
Yeah, everybody's really trying to run what line they need to run. Everybody's starting to get some green flag laps, starting to get a long green flag run. Get some heat in these tires. Let's see who's got the faster cars. You see a lot of drivers electing to go to that top lane to be able to carry that momentum that they need to. But some drivers, like I'm seeing right up here, Evan Lee, I believe it is, he was all the way down to the bottom. Evan Lee's actually going into the pits from what I'm seeing.
Oh, the 18. I'm not sure if he had some sort of penalty or something. Double checking on that, but yes, you're right. He is coming into pit lane for unusual and unknown reasons, unfortunately. So Kyle Adams leads, but Rychecki has been gaining on him since he's taken that over. It was many more car lengths up ahead. We're checking in on the 89 in the meantime.
Yeah, Bradley Stefane, he's been doing a very good job, and check it out where he started. 14th. He was in the heat race before this feature. Started 14th. He's up into the 6th spot, but they're looking 3 wide around him as he's trying to chase down Weissman and Mueller as they send it in down on the bottom side. That's Grant Brown. It sends it down on the bottom. He was one of those drivers that spun out earlier on in this race. He's down on the bottom as he's going side by side with Bradley Stefane, almost door banging coming off a 2.
Grant clearly demonstrating the speed that he's had here in this race. The qualifying was no fluke, having passed a lot of cars, trying to find his way back to the front. He's side by side with Lugo Vickery here on the outside, who is not given up easily, and he's boxed in. That's Bradley Stefane in front of Tyler, so that might limit his options as they almost come together. Bradley going low as Grant wants to drift up.
Yeah, Brown, I mean, I think he's had enough of this right here. He knows that he is one of the fastest cars out here on the track, and he's tired of racing these guys. He wants to be able to try to get up here and battle it out with Kyle Adams, with Jeremiah Ricky, with Tyler Mueller, Michael Weissman, Jake Sylvia, all these guys. Brown is starting to get impatient with these guys on the top side, but that's the kind of racing that you get here at Irwindale.
Battle still raging on a little bit farther down here. Tyler Mueller facing off against Jake Sylvia, who is up 4 from that regrid. He's been very quietly picking his way upwards, and we'll see if he can manage to go by Rychecki for second place in a bit, as we got a car on the bottom side. Grant Brown now seeing if he can overtake multiple cars. Wow, that bottom line working great for the 14.
Yeah, he's maybe trying to slide up right here in front of Weissman, but not able to do it. He is cutting this track and trying to use it as much as he can. Has a hole right here with Weissman. Will he decide to jump up? No, Weissman's going to get the run off of 2, but here he goes, sends it back down on the bottom. He wants to try to get up here in this top lane, and he's going to jump up. Weissman had to get out of the gas, and Stefane almost turned him as they hit the line.
Thankfully, it all stays green. We're on lap 26. We're already a third of the way through this race, following on the heels of the number 14 of Grant Brown. Weissman still trying to see if he could shake that position off of Grant into turns 1 and 2. They're starting to go more and more single file.
Yeah, everybody really going up to the top side. Kyle Adams and Jeremiah Ricky have straight up checked out from the rest of the field. Adams got about a 2-second lead over Jeremiah Ricky. As you see right now, I mean, here goes Weissman, tries to send it down on the bottom of Grant Brown. Brown may end up getting almost door banging. Weissman almost slammed him straight up into the fence, but Weissman being very wise to get out of the gas and keep it down as low as he can. That could have been catastrophic right there, Joe.
To finish first you must finish, and I think that self-preservation that Weissman is experiencing could help him as he gets loose, though, there, and that's going to allow Bradley Stefane to be all over his rear bumper. He'll try to go to the bottom side to see if he can overtake him.
Yeah, but up front, we got Jeremiah Ricky and Jake Sylvia. They have just got themselves in a battle for second. Jake tried to pull the slider. Now Jeremiah's going to try to see if he can pull the slider, but if he wants to do anything, he better jump up here in a second in front of Jake or in front of Tyler Mueller, because he may end up getting freight trained here in a minute. Here comes Mueller. He's going to fight Jeremiah for that 3rd spot.
Massive gap between P1 and P2. I think Sylvia knows it. He now sets his sights forward as he finally solidifies that second place in the 88. Can he hunt down Kyle Adams, who started this on pole? And it should have been a regrid, so theoretically, Jake should be quicker, but Kyle's been running away.
Absolutely, and I think that's exactly what they need is clean air to be able to get away from everybody. You ain't got nobody in front of you. Well, Kyle actually has one car right in front of him, and that being a lap car. So, I mean, it is what it is, but he ain't worried about that. He's just wanting to run some consistent laps and try to get away from Jake. But you see this lap time right there. It started to drop down big time. It's Stefan and the 78. Both of them almost get turned around. Holy hell, these guys are driving it like they stole it right now.
They absolutely are. This has been a fantastic race out here today with plenty of green flag racing, but maybe not much longer. To the side goes Bradley Stefan. He's off the racing line. I don't see a caution. Oh, but there's a wreck in front of him. Looks like a separate incident with Timmy Spatz leaves him on the exit of 2 facing the wrong way.
I think that might have been just a classic case of everybody looking down at the car, spinning on the bottom and not paying attention to what was in front of them, honestly, Joe, because everybody was straight around that whole deal right there. And I think that's exactly what it was. I mean, yeah, I think it was actually cars trying to check up, thinking Stefan was going to back it back up the fence. But you hate to see it right there for Timmy Spatz and being out of this event, which, I mean, he's not out of it, but he looks like he's got some pretty serious damage right here, Joe.
Yeah, now watch the 57 of Kyle Smith in this as well, because he's the one that's going to get loose and kind of tip this thing off. And yeah, he gets up into the 54. 57 has no place to go because of that. And they all sort of collect together there as they slither up the racetrack. That's Storkson in the 57 who hits him from behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, with Bradley Stefan getting loose right there, if he would not have gotten loose right there in front of him and everybody would have jacked up, I mean, Kyle Smith was already sideways in the middle of the corner. It really didn't matter what Bradley did. I mean, you're going to see it right here. There's Kyle Smith in that 97. He sends it in down on the bottom, and yeah, you already see him sideways right there as he tries to save it, jumps right up in front of Spatz. Spatz takes a hell of a ride over in turn 2. And unfortunate to see that right there, because a lot of these guys, I mean, we're seeing a lot of great racing out here, Joe, and that's what we love to see here at Irwindale. That's what we love to see on podium, and even with the Misfit Touring Series. But, I mean, cautions is going to happen in short track, but I'll say this. With them kind of cautions, we've seen some hellacious wrecks so far on this little half-mile racetrack.
Yeah, and I wouldn't think for a half-miler that we'd have speeds that fast that we would have that bad of wrecks. Also interesting, since we haven't had many cautions, we haven't had to bring it up a lot, but Kyle Smith has been the latest to get the EOL for causing that caution. So he's going to have to start from the back along with what damage I'm sure he accrued from that incident. And he doesn't have too many laps. He has some. It's a little bit less than half left. So hopefully he's got the speed to make up for that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he does. I mean, you know, all those drivers, you know, unfortunate that they got in accidents. But I'm going to tell you this, Joe. We're coming up on a restart right here, and this is going to get very, very interesting. Kyle Adams started on the pole, and I'm sure he was tickled to death for the regrid to be able to get himself up there in the lead. Now he's got 3 hungry guys behind him. Jake Sylvia, who won at Stafford. Tyler Mueller, who put on a hell of a show last week at Stafford as well. And Grant Brown, we saw him start at the back of the field because he got spun out. He just drove his way all the way up to the 4th spot. Kyle Adams better be watching his rearview mirror because he may be in some serious trouble on this restart.
And Sylvia's gap has been cut down by this caution. What's he going to do as they all check up a little bit? Cars getting into one another as they try to take off here for the restart. Down to the bottom for Kyle Adams, trying to hold off a charging Jake Sylvia.
Here comes Sylvia up on the top. Brown's going to be right behind Sylvia. Here comes Tyler Mueller down on the bottom. Brown says, screw it, we're going 3 wide, but Sylvia able to get clear. Now Brown down on the bottom. Mueller, he's going to jump up to the top side, get him behind Jake Sylvia. All this going on behind Kyle Adams, who's trying to check out and trying to get away from him.
I wonder if Brown could be a dark horse in all of this. He goes all the way to the low side and is able to stay side by side in that battle for second. Drops back a little bit with a lack of momentum shooting off the corner. But he is finding it effective, at least for now. But we got another caution quickly. And it looks like Keegan Bush and Bradley Stefane at least involved in this one.
Unfortunate to see that right there with Keegan Bush and Bradley Stefane. Bradley also got caught up in that earlier crash. Matter of fact, the caution right before this. But unfortunate to see that right there. We'll kind of see where everything kind of stacked up. All of it started right there on the top. You see Keegan Bush gets turned around, and then everybody else just trying to jam on the brakes and trying to see if they can get around it, maybe get away. But some drivers, unfortunately, not able to miss out on that.
Yeah, so Bradley Stefane is turned around from the checkup, and I believe it's Ed Papineau that gets almost turned around by him hitting into the back. Otherwise, interestingly, it was Justin Rideout that initially turns around the first car on this one. There you can see it as he bumps him around. So obviously having fun making friends in his first go out with the Misfits Touring Series.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's going to get the EOL. And folks, for those of you that don't know, EOL is end of the line. And so he will get that penalty and have to start from the tail end of the lead lap. Unfortunate for him in his opening debut, I guess you could say, with the Misfit Touring Series. But we see a lot of drivers right here on pit road, Joe.
We do indeed. Now, they don't have any tires that they can take in this series, so this is all repairs, which is a bit surprising. We do have a chance, thanks to the yellow as well, to give a huge thank you to the partner and sponsor of the series, Spartamax. You can check them out at spartamax.net. So a huge thank you for them helping put this show on the air. So we see a few of our drivers parked on pit lane there on that inner racetrack, waiting for the teams to finish up their repairs here today. Okay, we've made it down to 30 laps to go. And let's not forget we have the green-white checkers up our sleeves if we do get some cautions late in the race. And they do seem to be picking up a little bit here, Jacob.
Absolutely, they do, and I'm gonna go ahead and call this right now. I know it's 30 to go, and I know we still got a long way to go in this. I'm gonna go ahead, Joe, for the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and call out who I think's gonna win this bad boy. I'm gonna be going for the 14 right now. I'm gonna go for Grant Brown, because this man, I mean, even though we still got a long ways to go, but I have seen the drive and determination out of that number 14. He has put on a hell of a show all the way from the back of the field and drove himself all the way back to the front. This man right here, I've got a feeling that car right there that you see on your screen, that black, red, and white number 14, I think he's going to get it done here this evening.
Well, my experience has been when a car is picked for the win, that usually is a curse, if anything. So fans of Grant Brown, you can go and blame Jacob if he has a bad one on this one. Let's see if he does or not, because they're getting ready for the restart, and the green flag is out with 28 left to go. Kyle Adams up against Sylvia, Brown, and Mueller for the lead. Adams all the way to the bottom, drifts it back up to the high side. Sylvia's got a lot of steam. He's going to cut down to the bottom.
Sylvia down on the bottom, and he's going to try to pull the slider, goes all the way up the track, but caution on the speedway as Sylvia took the lead. We'll see if it was able to stick. Looked like that was Story back there in the back. Chris Story in the 67 that had a little bit of a contact. Oh, wow, big time contact. You see the right front wheel jacked up on it. We'll see if Jake actually gets officially the lead right here, because he was in the process of taking the lead over Kyle Adams. We'll see if Jake is officially going to be the leader right here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it was Willie Nelson that made the contact. So I wonder if that's who is going to get the penalty on this one. Sounds like, unfortunately, we don't have replay footage of it. So from what I could see, Nelson got into the left rear quarter panel of the car of Story. So we'll watch and see whether or not the penalty shows up on our messages from race control as the car is sent around. That's Ed Papineau getting the lucky dog and getting back onto the lead lap. It does look like Sylvia is going to be regrid on the pole for this one. So the racing gods are smiling upon the 88 once again.
Yeah, I mean, and that is big time right there for Jake Sylvia. I mean, you know, the fastest car here at Irwindale after the regrid had to start 7th, so he had to drive back through the field. Looks like he's going to take the bottom right here on this restart right here. So Adams, he loves this top side. He really does. But Sylvia's going to have to send this sucker. He's going to have to send that 88 as hard as he possibly can and try to jump up in front of Kyle Adams, because Adams, he's led most of this race. He does not want to give this bad boy away right now. I can guarantee you that, Joe. He wants to try to win this thing and stop what Jake Sylvia has been doing throughout this season. I think Kyle Adams can do it, but do not count out, like I said, my pick, Grant Brown. He dodged one caution. Maybe we can take the commentator's curse off my back for a change, and maybe he can get it done as well.
Yeah, Grant restarting there in 3rd, still in a good position. He'll have the inside, but then we've seen the outside have some good speed here on some of these starts. Other interesting thing, we've now had what is essentially, I believe, 3 cautions in a row, or at least within quick succession here. In oval racing, Jacob, we often talk about the give and take that it's needed. Is it becoming a lot less give and a lot more take now?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see the laps right there. I mean, 23 laps to go. I mean, everybody's, you know, they threw give out of their dictionary. It is all take at this point. Everybody wants to get up here and try to win this race. And everybody in the field, all the way down to 16th, still has a shot. I mean, that's 16 cars right here on the lead lap. Everybody's got a shot at this right here. So it's all take, no give right now.
Is Adams going to be able to take away from Sylvia, though, and be able to get a win? As we come down to the start-finish line, it's a very good start for Sylvia and for Brown. Look at him get up the inside of Adams. He's up the inside of Jake Sylvia as well. Can he take it away as we get another wreck behind them? Oh, he could have been in the lead when they had that yellow thrown. It was close.
Holy crap, what a wreck behind him. Terry Wangston, also one of those drivers, gets involved from what I've seen. And he might have actually been the initial driver that went around, but what a restart right there. As Terry looks like he just gets down on the bottom. Oh no, Tyler Mueller in the 1. He actually gets set around by the 241 entry, which the 241 entry, that is Tyler Lugo Vickery. You're going to see it right here. There's Vickery right there. Gets into Mueller, sends him around. Terry got nowhere to go. Story barely sneaks by it. But there it is right there, Joe. I mean, it's like I said, everybody is taking, nobody's giving right now.
They were 4 wide on that restart down into turn 1. So, yeah, you're right. People are trying to capitalize on any sort of opening that they can find as we come back live now. Or no, excuse me, we're looking at the replay of that restart one more time. This is Lugo Vickery. Oh, he's already got a bump on the 1 once on the initial start, then down into turn 2. He gets a little piece of the left rear quarter panel. And then, unfortunately, with everybody checking up, some didn't get the memo, and around he goes. And we are apparently going to single file restarts. I kind of don't blame the stewards on that one.
Nah, I don't blame him one bit. I mean, and honestly, right there for Vickery, I mean, you saw what happened. I mean, he got in the back of Mueller once, turned him around the second time, and then he just got straight up jacked up. The way I look at that, Joe, that's karma. I mean, you reap what you sow at that point. He hit him once before the restart. I think he might have actually hit him twice before the restart, then turned him around 3 times. That's enough. I mean, like you said, nobody got the memo, but I look at it as karma at that point.
Sometimes racing has a way of doing that. And interestingly, Grant Brown will be regrid on the top spot. He's been in pit lane. In fact, the only other driver that is up amongst the top 10 that's been on pit lane during this race is Bradley Stefane. Everybody else who has had to get some repairs has not been able to climb that high up the order. So it looks like might not be a curse today. It all depends. We still have what looks like 16 laps to go here once we get the restart. So will your prediction come true, Jacob?
I hope so. I mean, I think we might need to quit bringing it up at this point because I may feel bad about this if he gets turned. But, I mean, Grant Brown, I mean, you know, we saw you know, everything that he was doing. I mean, Joe, I mean, he drove all the way from the back of the field. We'll see if he can be able to keep it up here at the front. This is going to help him out. Single file restart, green flag in the air. Brown's on the gas. Sylvia's on the gas, and Brown, he's not going to run the top. He's going to try to cut the track, go all the way down to the bottom of the track. Here comes Sylvia. Here comes Jeremiah Ricky. Here comes Kyle Adams, Willie Nelson, all of them trying to chase down Brown, and Sylvia's going for the lead.
Cuts to the bottom underneath them, now forcing the 14 to take the high side. Both of them try to go to the bottom. Is either going to give way? No, but the 14 pinches him enough that he holds onto the top spot. Rychecki somehow finds himself into third place ahead of Kyle Adams on that last caution, just barely being ahead of him when the yellow was thrown, and he's holding on to it now all the way to the apron once again for Brown. We're down to 14 laps to go.
Brown's trying to hold off Sylvia as much as he can, and he loves wrapping that bad boy around the apron. Got a guy around back here in the back. Looks like that is the 27, Keegan Bush, but we stay green as Brown's still trying to wrap as low as he possibly can. Sylvia's going to get a little bit of a run off of 2. Will it be enough to get to the back bumper of Grant Brown? And Joe, here's something that you got to think about. Will Sylvia use the bumper if he gets to Grant Brown for this lead?
And Rychecki's been under threat from Kyle Adams. If he can get through, is he also going to try and get aggressive here at the end, considering the laps are dwindling away, and he's got to play catch up side by side a little bit farther back there. And you can see the battle between Willie Nelson actually now trying to attack on Kyle Adams. He's almost got the position, and he bumps him a little bit out of the way.
Oh, wow. I'm telling you, Willie Nelson right now may be thanking his lucky stars that Kyle Adams didn't turn him head on into the fence, because Kyle Adams could have done that big time. But that opens the door for the 45 of Michael Wiseman, who shot around Stefan and Adams like they were both sitting still. Now he's going to have a shot at Willie Nelson. Nelson all but loose off of turn 2, as up front Sylvia's still trying to run down Brown, but we see a hell of a battle back here for that 4th spot.
Cutting back across on Wiseman. He's going to try and see if he can take that position away. Drifts up. Wiseman's not going to give way like we saw Kyle Adams do, who is all the way down into 7th now. It's been a miserable restart for that number 45. Meanwhile, Willie Nelson still fighting hard. And I'm starting to notice we're seeing a lot of marbles on that low line as well. The track is getting messy.
Yeah, it's getting absolutely worn out right now, but I'll tell you, Joe, that's when you see some great racing, and we're seeing it all right here on Podium Esports here at Irwindale Speedway. Every one of these guys trying to go for everything. Like I said, no give, all take. Here comes Jake Sylvia. He's going to try to get to the left rear of Brown. Both of them send it in as Sylvia all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack trying to slide up. Brown's going to get the run off of 4, but Brown's going to get the lead back.
Brown squared off that exit, and that gave him the launch, but it's not over. Still side by side, nearly touching off the turn as they chuck it down into turn 3 now. We are going to see 7 to go at the line. They've been door to door for a couple of laps. Who is going to give way?
I got a feeling right now Jeremiah Ricky may be in the best spot, because these guys are driving the hell out of these cars up here for this lead and for the win. Jeremiah might be in the perfect spot. Both of these guys might end up taking each other out for the win. Coming to the line, 4 laps to go. Jake has threw everything at Grant here at the end of this race. But he's done one thing. He has not done one thing right here, Joe. He hasn't sent him yet, but he's come damn close a couple of times.
He keeps his nose in there on the inside. 3 laps to go now. Will he actually turn him is the question. There was a little bit of consternation between drivers back at places such as Thompson. But as we come through turns 3 and 4, he's right at the bumper. He could try and nudge him if he wanted to. No, he's going to send it down to the inside, gives him the door. He's going to take the lead away through 1 and 2. He's got a nose ahead. It's 2 laps to go. White flag next time by. Will the 14 cut back underneath and be able to take the lead away? He tries to get the launch off the corner, but no. Jake Sylvia has the advantage down to the inside through 1 and 2. He gets underneath them, not able to pay him back quite yet. The lapped car gets out of the way ahead of them. Sylvia with the advantage down to the inside of 3 and 4. Can't get there in time. Jake Sylvia at the last stages of this race will take the win away from Brown.
Wow, what a race all the way to the end. Jake Sylvia gets the win. Look at this right here. Brown actually threw the door right there. Not really sure if that was the congratulatory door or if it was a you-know-what door right there to Sylvia, but that is short track racing right there, Joe. Hell of a finish right there with Jake Sylvia getting the win.
Getting the elbows out to make it happen as he pulls into victory lane and burns it down with donuts here at the front stretch. Nicely done by Jake Sylvia for the win here today. We're going to take a quick break as he continues to celebrate. We'll be back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Irwindale. The first of our West Coast swings sees Jake Sylvia kick it off with a victory, and he had to fight for this one late as he brushed Grant Brown aside to take the win on the regrid starting from 7th. Grant Brown here managed to finish in 2nd. He was the pick of Jacob Reeves and just about managed to pull it off. But some roughhousing may have cost him that win in the end. Jeremiah Rychecki wound up in P3 as Michael Weissman was P4. Bradley Stefane, how about this one? 14th to 5th. What a run up the field. Willie Nelson was P6, and Kyle Adams unfortunately went from the pole down to 7th by the end of the race. Kyle Smith, though, outdid, I think, Stefane a little bit here from 20th to 8th position. Then it was Chris Story finishing 9th and Ed Papineau rounding out your top 10. What's about the rest of the field here, Jacob?
Well, then we got Tyler Lugo Vickery will finish 11th. Tyler Mueller, both the Tylers right here, 11th and 12th, respectively. Then you got Keegan Bush finishing in 13th. Kenny Storkson will finish in the 14th spot. Terry Wagness will finish in 15th. Good run for him. He's the first driver one lap down, but Justin Rideout in his debut right here with the Misfit Touring Series, he will end up finishing 16th. Evan Lee will finish in 17th. Alex Hellener will finish in 18th, Timmy Spatz 19th, and John Gifford will round out the top 20.
And then, of course, you had Brogan Whitworth, who was a retirement early, and Nelson and Stark were a did not start for this race. Now, we hoped to get to talk to Sylvia here, but we don't have anybody waiting. I wonder if there's a bit of talking happening in the rest of the Discord over there, because I do still see Jake over with a few drivers, and I wonder if we might actually have a little bit of drama from that finish. Certainly was exciting stuff. I mean, I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it. It was all so in the moment there, Jacob. But what's your take on his move? Fair game?
Well, I mean, I think it is. Honestly, I mean, it's short track racing, Joe. I mean, and up here in North Georgia, I mean, that's the kind of racing that we love to see right there. We love to see, door banging, as I say. We love to see the beef because it's hellacious content. We love that kind of stuff. But I mean, for that matter, I mean, it's short track racing. I mean, it is what it is, what happens, and it was one of the keys for this race. Who wants it more? And Jake Sylvia wanted more. And Grant Brown, he had about one or two shots at Sylvia to send him around if he wanted to, right after Sylvia threw the door to him. but Brown never went back and never sent it in and tried to send him. So, I mean, I think it's fair game. A lot of other drivers may look at it as, well, no, maybe not. You shouldn't race that way. But that's short track racing. You got to lean on one another every now and then. You got to try to, move people out of the way. That's what racing was built on. That's what short track racing was built on, Joe. At least from where I stand at, I think it was a fair game. But I'll say this: Jake Sylvia might want to be watching his back after this race, because Grant Brown's going to remember that one.
He certainly will. Well, let's see what Jake Sylvia remembers about this as we get ready to talk to our winner now, waiting and ready to have a conversation about the win here. Congratulations, Jake. It looked like things got a little bit rough at the end. What's your opinion on the move that you made to take the lead away from Grant?
Clean. I was up his inside into turn one multiple times before him. We were running side by side. I never went below the white. I never was going below the white. He went below the white on the same setup I'm on and self-spun earlier in the race. I wasn't doing it. I went below the white to give him extra space because it was that late in the run and I knew he was going to pinch, and we made contact. He said it himself. He came down, and that's what it is. I went lower than what I have been. I was a little bit skatey. If we didn't touch originally, I think we probably would have touched an exit anyway. But that's racing. Leader's got to do his job, which is pinch and fight like hell and try to win the race, and I've got to do my job, which is put the nose in there and try to win the thing. I've got a lot of people down my throat already about the move, and that's part of it. Not everybody likes to see the same guy win a lot. I don't know what else to say. It was a clean move. I did exactly what I needed to do. I held my line. I didn't run up into him. I didn't do anything like that. I could have wailed off into his door 5 times prior to that, but I chose not to. Racing a friend. I've been friends with him for a year now. Not going to race somebody like that. I've got his name on the side of my car. I don't know why anybody's thinking it's something malicious. So,
well, talk about the racing around the track itself today. We were kind of debating, okay, which way is it going to ride, high side or low side? Which felt better to you today?
They both really didn't feel good. Out of all the practice races and all the testing that everybody did throughout the week, we really thought it was going to be kind of like a dirt race where you just see a lot of slide jobs. We definitely saw some, but I don't know what it was. I don't know if the track temp definitely rose. I think we were in like right around the 80 mark throughout the race, and I think that might have played a part. But for whatever reason, it was so hard to get there on somebody, and once you did, it was easy, but it was getting to the point where you could throw a slide job on somebody without them getting all the way to the wall and going. But I think towards the end of that race, the marbles really started to work their way up the track, and it wasn't worth it anymore. You really had to drop down and try to defend your spot.
Well, there's definitely a lot of attack and defense. We got a lot of cautions there towards the end. Could you tell that there was a lot more take and a lot less give there at the end?
Yeah, it's part of it. You really can't expect much. We've got I think this is the shortest race we're going to have all season. Not just lap count wise, but just size of the track and time that it took. It's 75 laps here is not a lot, especially in a car like this where we've got 20 cars out there. It goes by fast. So these guys were definitely pushing a lot harder than they normally were. That's just kind of what we all expected. I got the luck of the draw, getting the jump on Kyle there whenever I threw the slider and we got the yellow, and I messed up and I went high and bottomed out, and Grant got the spot on me. So it is what it is. It's kind of part of it. I wish we didn't have as many yellows, but who knows? It might have played out not in my favor if we went green, so it might have just worked out for me.
Well, again, congratulations on the win and a hard-fought race, sir.
Yes, thank you.
That was Jake Sylvia, your winner. And up next, Jacob Reeves, ready to talk to Grant Brown, your second place finisher here today.
Yeah, Grant Brown. Grant, I don't know if you may have been listening in on the show right here, brother, but I had you picked for the win when it was 30 laps to go, and it looked like you almost had that bad boy in the bag. And we just talked to Jake Sylvia. He said, it was racing. I felt like it was racing with the contact that you and him had. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. We were both racing hard for the win, and Jake is a friend of mine, and I went to pinch, and he held his line, and we made contact, and I got loose, and he won. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Was there anything that you maybe could have done differently right there with, him making that move? I mean, is there anything that you could have done differently to try to be able to hold him off right there for those last few laps?
I'm sure if I went back and watched the broadcast, I could find something, but I was just kind of handicapped from the spin early on when we didn't get a caution. Got some damage early on from somebody trying to be a hero on lap 1, so spent most of the race trying to deal with that and manage my right rear, but it was a little too angry at me to seal the deal.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we saw you literally, as you mentioned right there, getting spun around very early in the race. You went all the way back through the field. You literally went all the way through the field, down on the bottom of the racetrack, basically running qualifying laps from what it looked like, all the way back to the front. I mean, just tell us about that, because, I mean, it looked like, honestly, I would have loved to just been riding on board with you for 75 laps right there, because it looked like it was a lot of fun driving past everybody.
Oh, yeah, it was a ton of fun. It's just try to pick your battles. There were some guys that were kind of throwing some haymakers back in the pack, and kind of had to work my way through that. And then once I got through the midfield, it got a little bit easier, a little more predictable. So it was not bad to get through it all, I don't think, but I was pretty impressed with the way that most of the folks were racing each other tonight.
Well, Grant, I will apologize to you. Like I said, I may have threw the commentator's curse on you. It might have cost you the win right there. But Grant Brown coming home second. Grant, you got anybody that you want to thank that made this possible?
Yeah, the guys back at Speed Ranch. Ryan Kuhn at RKM has been helping us out a lot as well on the short track side, kind of giving us dirt and NASCAR guys a place to have some fun on the short track side. Patriot Media and Marketing Services and DriverTees.com.
Grant Brown, we appreciate your time, brother. Congratulations on that second place finish.
Thank you.
And
Go ahead.
Sorry about
Joe.
that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
That takes us actually to fourth place finisher Michael Weisman. Instead, can't seem to track down Rychecki here today, who was on the podium. So we're going to talk to Michael here in the number 45. Michael, just shy of finishing in the top 3 there. You had a front row seat of some hard fights as well as being in your own there at the end.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Of course, give it to Jake and Grant. They put on one hell of a show for the win. I was impressed watching them trying to run down 78. Feel bad not remember his name. Apologize to him, but watching them too, that was one hell of a show.
Now, watching from up here in the booth, towards the end, it looked like there was a lot of marbles, even all the way down on the low side where drivers were running. Could you feel that? Was it getting kind of slippery on any line out there?
Oh yeah, every line was starting to get slippery. Just how big this track is. So many lanes, everyone's all over the place. Every inch of the track could be heated up, so you'll be sliding around no matter what.
You also kind of had to come back through the field like we were just talking to Grant about him getting sent to the back. You got a bump and went down to the bottom of the field. What was it like trying to make overtakes here?
I'll admit, it was scary because you really had to trust the guy if you're throwing a slider or doing anything, honestly. So you never know which line someone's going to run. You just had to be on top of your feet the whole race.
Well, I'd say you did a good job of that, considering you managed to get all the way back up to P4. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you over at Kern, too.
Hopefully. It's been a while since we talked.
Exactly. Well, glad we get the opportunity. That was the number 45 of Michael Weisman taking fourth here today, which will wrap us up. But before we go, we want to talk about Kern County Speedway as well. Have to admit, I'm not as familiar with this one. One of the newer tracks here on iRacing, Jacob, but another West Coast circuit.
Yeah, I mean, this track is an absolute beast right here. Half-mile racetrack, just like, that they raced here tonight at Irwindale. And, I actually called a truck race here at this track right here. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was chaos last night with the trucks. We'll see if the late models can be able to keep it not chaotic. But I'm going to tell you right now, folks, you will get your money's worth if you tune in next week here at Kern County Speedway. And I guarantee you everybody got their money's worth here tonight with the fantastic finish that we saw right there between Jake Sylvia and Grant Brown. Kern County Speedway, January 13th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a blast to see that one right there, Joe.
Absolutely is. So, of course, we can't give a big enough thank you to the organizers behind the scenes to help make this thing happen, as well as to the team today, DJ, Jacob, and Dougie. And as you heard, next race will be back on the 13th at 3 p.m. Central next week. So make sure and tune in for that one. We saw plenty of action here in the Misfit Touring Series, and I have no doubt that we'll continue to see it as the rivalries start to build and the lore also starts to show itself. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.